additional layers of protection for victims of domestic violence. I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Newsmakers. With me is New Jersey State Assemblyman Chris Brown. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
We're talking about two different bills related to the protection of victims of domestic violence, but one is related to cyber harassment. Talk to us a little bit about that and why that's an important component to address.
Well, one of the things I wanted to point out initially is that too often women fall victim to domestic violence. And we need to make sure that we continue to punish those who will do that, deter those who are thinking about doing that, and make sure that the women throughout our community are aware that there are laws out there protecting them and making sure that they're safe. As a boy, when I grew up, my mom volunteered with one of the women's shelters, and I remember they had this magnet on the refrigerator. I think it said something like a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. And the point that they were making is that women should be able to be independent and go out and do all the things that we know that can be done. And unfortunately, in our society, there still remains that aspect of domestic violence. And one of the areas, of course, is cyberbullying, where
And that can be a component of domestic violence as well. There's the physical component, there's the emotional component, but now with so many different types of technology, and we're talking about cell phones, we're talking about online, this allows for restraining orders related to cyber harassment. Has that not been the case in the past?
Not for the cyber harassment. One of the things that I had the honor and the privilege to serve is not just a prosecutor, but as a judge. And I would get the phone calls at night from the police officers who were dealing with the domestic violence. And I would talk to the women who are calling and had been subject to abuse. And I would have to issue the warrants to arrest. But when it came to things like cyberbullying, it wasn't so clear, and it wasn't so easy for a judge to be able to issue that warrant to make sure that this person who is a threat to this woman is out of society, is put away until we can supervise and make sure that she is safe. And so what this law will help do is add that layer, as you said, to making sure that all our families and our mothers and our sisters and our daughters are protected.
In addition to that, there is another bill that would expand the confidentiality law. How would it be expanded and what would it include?
Well, one of the things that we know is so unfortunate. If you're a victim of domestic violence, there's the fear that it will occur again. And more often and so often with these restraining orders, when I would issue them as a judge or I would request them as a prosecutor on behalf of someone, the person themselves are still in fear that if this individual knows where I am or gets a hold of my phone numbers or my address, they will continue to harass me. So under this bill, it provides for alternate address and alternate phone numbers for those who are victims of domestic violence, for their safety and for their protection.
And there's also a component that allows for victims of stalking or sexual assault to be covered under the confidentiality law. Are these individuals not covered under this law at this point?
You would think that they would be, but unfortunately they have not been. And so by expanding this law, it includes them as well. And clearly, if you're somebody who's being stalked, you certainly fall into the category where you need your anonymity so that you can make sure that those who may want to do you harm can't do that.
And have you introduced these bills at this point?
Yes, they have been introduced, and we're hoping that the Senate will see the value and we can get them through the Senate as well.
Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We've been talking with New Jersey State Assemblyman Chris Brown. I'm Jill Horner.